So I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday. He's a Tennessee fan, and we were just talking about the game against Oklahoma and how good Tennessee looked, and he just stopped me, and he's like, man, for the first time in a long time, I feel just supremely confident in everything we're doing at Tennessee. Like, yes, that win was nice, but just looking forward with Josh Heupel as the coach, with the administration, with the way that we're just continuing to attack what new college football is, like, I feel good about where we're headed for the first time and again in a long time. And I started to think about what he had said a few hours later as I started to kind of ruminate more and more what we want to talk about here on this Monday heading into week 5 of the college football season. And I was like, man, if I'm a Tennessee fan, I feel the exact same way. I'd have overwhelming confidence in not just this team, but the future of Tennessee football. We'll talk about all that right now. Tennessee fans, make sure you're subscribed right here. We've had a lot of y'all get subscribed. We appreciate y'all for making this channel what it is when it comes to the Tennessee representation. We appreciate y'all for that. Also, follow me now on Instagram and on Twitter at JDPikel. Want to hear from y'all. And if you're as confident as I would be and as my guy is when it comes to the future of Tennessee football. But let's start with this team right now. I believe that right now this team is the best roster that Josh Heupel has had since getting to Knoxville. And that makes sense, right? Like, you build your foundation of your roster with the portal. You add pieces. You got a generational talent at quarterback, but you have a defense too. And we talked about this yesterday in our Sunday reaction to the Oklahoma game. They got a defense now that I think can now go toe-to-toe with the powers in the SEC, the Georgias, the Bamas, LSU historically. Like, this is a unit now to where if you get into a game where you're only going to score 25, you can run the football, take the air out of it, punt it away, and feel good about doing that. Feel good about where your defense is at. And the front seven, too, is really where I want to focus. Like, we're going to probably have to play a 17, 16-game season if you want to win the whole darn thing. That's a lot of games. It's a lot of wear and tear on your roster. It's a lot of wear and tear on the big boys up front that more often than not are going to decide the football game. And so to have what you need, to have the price of admission to compete for and ultimately, I believe, at some point in time, win the whole darn conference in the SEC. That's massive. That's something that you haven't had in a long time at Tennessee, not something you've had under Josh Heupel to this point. Credit him and his staff for building accordingly. The quarterback, Nico Iamaleava. I've said it before, I think he is the most physically gifted quarterback you've ever had in Knoxville, Josh Heupel regime or otherwise. Peyton Manning is the best quarterback you've ever had in Knoxville. Does Nico Iamaleava eventually surpass Peyton Manning? That's a very clickbait kind of title conversation to have, but I think you look at the physical attributes, the way he moves, his arm talent, the size that he has to go with the mobility. Like, there's a lot to like here about Nico Iamaleava, and this is just the jumping off point for him. Sunday was his first road start. You don't think he's going to get a little bit better than what he was in that game? And the skill players to go with it, like from the running back room, which carried the load in that game against Oklahoma, to the players on the perimeter, which we've talked about a lot. Good to see Dante Thornton, too, showing himself a little bit here early on in the year. You heard a lot of buzz about him when he transferred in from Oregon a season ago, and to have the game he had against Oklahoma, have that big touchdown catch, like, happy for him, happy for the way that he's trending, and I don't think he's the only one that's going to trend upwards throughout the course of this season. Of course, you got Brew McCoy back, and that's massive as well, and he's a tone setter for that room, we have to believe. The confidence I would have, though, as a Tennessee fan, when it comes to who's running the entire program, and Josh Heupel, would be, through the roof. Through the roof. Because I think Josh Heupel is perfectly aligned with where modern college football is headed. I don't think in college football today you can be the dictator of sorts to your football team. I don't think you can be the guy that just chews out everybody and then some on the roster and just goes as hard as possible on their team to try and, set the standard. Like, you, of course, have to set the standard. Of course, there has to be structures and rules in place. Of course, there's a time and a place to have a certain volume to your voice. But I think at the same time now, the way that Josh Heupel operates, he is all business, but he's also, I think, a player's coach. Like, I think the composure he shows on the sideline whenever, the stakes are high, whenever it is a big call, but then also the emotion that he shows whenever they have a big play offensively. Like, I think players gravitate towards that and buy into that. And I think the way that he operates, speaking to the composure, like, I think his team reflects that. He talks a lot about resetting every play, talks a lot about, competitive composure, and you saw that against Oklahoma. You saw that from this team, and they're only going to improve, and I think only future Tennessee teams will resemble that kind of approach as long as Josh Heupel is the head coach out there in Knoxville. But you can tell now, too, as much as he is all business, as much as he talks about, hey, nameless, faceless opponent, which if you're a Tennessee fan fires you up as well, you can tell there's a very real buy-in to who Josh Heupel is. And if you haven't yet seen the video out there of Josh Heupel post-game Oklahoma in the locker room talking about having his return to Norman not be about him, and he made sure that was clear, but then thanked his team and said, I'm glad y'all had a little extra for me. Saw the team respond to that. And then you also see Nico Iamaleava, before they break it down, he says, Coach, we did this for you. Gives him the game ball. Like, you can't fake that. You can't fake that. And there's so much made today in modern college football about NIL and the transfer portal, and it's more transactional than ever. And maybe so. Maybe that's true. I'll tell you one thing, though. You cannot fake what you saw from that team responding to Josh Heupel. Relationships in college football will always, always win. I don't care how much money is being thrown around. I don't care how many portal players are being added or taken away. Like, relationships at the end of the day will always be the differentiating factor when it comes to talented roster versus talented roster. You got to have talent. There's no way around it. But I think players can smell fake from a mile away, regardless of what people want to say right now about NIL and social media and all this, that, and the other, and culture not really mattering anymore. No, maybe that reads nice in an article. Maybe it hits nice on a thumbnail, but I'm telling you now, people can spot fake from a mile away. And from what I could tell from Josh Heupel and the way his team responded to him, there was nothing fake about it. And that's going to be sustainable. So all those things combined to make, I think, this team really special in Knoxville. A lot of ball to be played, a lot of great opponents to be played for them. But you look to the future, man, like from even the level above Josh Heupel, the administration, they are doing everything as of right now, from what I can tell, in their power to have sustainable success when it comes to Tennessee football. From the ticket talent fee to the care factor they are obviously showing when it comes to putting resources in place to acquire top talent. Like, this is a entire well-oiled machine, from the football program to the coaching staff to the administration. Like, they are all aligned, and they are surging right now into the new era of college football. So I cannot wait to see what they are going forward. I cannot wait to see what the next 3 years look like in Knoxville. I think this team, again, is going to be one to be fired up about for a long time if you're a Tennessee fan. But the future in Knoxville, Tennessee, I think is as exciting as the present right now for the reasons I just mentioned. Head coach, the way they're going to, I think, continue to win and start winning at a higher level in the recruiting trail after they have more momentum on the field to show to recruits. It's a good time to be involved. And again, if I were a Tennessee fan, I would have overwhelming confidence, like I'm sure a lot of y'all already do after that Oklahoma game. So subscribe to the channel, follow me on the socials, Instagram, Twitter, @JDPakel. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Live prediction Tuesday tomorrow on this channel, 11 a.m. Eastern. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.